The Koalition.
And I'm pretty sure everybody has something to say on this topic. So going back to gaming, we found out recently that EA has confirmed that Anthem has been pushed to early 2019. According to the articles that we've seen online, the reason for this being is because the Bioware team feels a little bit of pressure to get this game right. You know, this is just to give people a little bit of context. The Bioware team that created the original Mass Effect, they are the team that's working on Anthem. They stated that the initial fall 2018 date was never something that was actually going to happen, but that they are now saying that the safer bet is 2019, early next year, because they need more time to make sure that they get this game right. So I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on this particular news. I do have a couple of things I need to say because we already know the EA has had a pretty bad track record, especially last year. So many bad things happened last year with EA. So Max, since I know you were, I believe, the biggest Mass Effect Andromeda fan on this panel, maybe you can shed some light on what you think about this news first and foremost.
Well, I shouldn't say I'm surprised by this. You know, Anthem is probably going to be a pretty massive game. I think it's going to have a lot of grinding in it, but I do think there's going to be a lot of work put into it. Whether that work is put into the right aspects of the game development, we'll have to wait and see. But I don't think this is much of a surprise. I honestly didn't expect it to come out this year in the first place. I'm sure that they're trying to work on the finest line they can find between microtransactions and pissing people off. So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the time is going into that. But I mean, I would be incredibly happy to see that maybe this delay could also be caused by them rethinking the design of the game and being like, hey, maybe we should actually give people something to play without spending a whole bunch of money after already buying the game. And, you know, that'd be really cool. Maybe they are redesigning like the core design around the game and everything like that. I hope this delay goes towards something better. You know, obviously I wish that Mass Effect Andromeda would have been even more delayed and gotten some fixes, but I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, the team is capable of making a great game. Hopefully the delay is for the better, but we'll have to see if EA doesn't tamper with that at all.
So let me make a quick comment. Those are all
Right.
great thoughts. And you know, I'm pretty sure that Gary will have something to say as well. We already know that EA likes to tamper with stuff, so I don't really know what's going to happen with that. I would like to hope that they will let this BioWare team, you know, stick to doing what they do best, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, I probably should have mentioned that we also know that the next Dragon Age game is also in development. I don't really know when that's coming out. I think right now all of the focus is on Anthem. They did mention they have pretty much almost every team working on Anthem right now. So, I mean, let's be honest here, okay? Anthem is supposed to be EA's version of Destiny. They've been very clear, very transparent. That is essentially what they are doing. Although it's still supposed to have strong story, strong characters, the stuff that BioWare is known for. But yeah, the always online, you know, all this other stuff that Destiny has. This game is essentially their version of that. So I kind of feel like the game has a chance to be great if they are actually paying attention to what's happening with Destiny 2 right now and the way the fans are responding to that game. But because EA is involved, I don't have faith that that they are going to handle this game the right way. And you know, obviously they did mention that if the game is not handled the right way, then BioWare would definitely be in a lot of trouble next year. So I don't know, man. I want to believe that EA can do it right, but as a Mass Effect fan, I have to say Andromeda was trash. You know, we're not going to say it's a bad game because I think that's not a good enough word to describe how disappointed I was in that game. But Gary, as a Mass Effect fan, I know you and Ramis had a podcast about Mass Effect Andromeda and how fantastic they all thought it was. So what do you think about this news?
Well, Mass Effect definitely wasn't fantastic. It was a piece of garbage. But yeah, as for Anthem, I think, you know, it's probably a case of they saw the backlash with the the loot box system in Battlefield, and they were like, okay, let's take out all the loot boxes from Anthem and delay the game to 2019. So that's probably what happened. But I think it's probably for the best to delay it, just to make sure it is perfect, because now they've got a lot of negative press on them already. So they kind of have to, deliver with that game at this point, because a lot of eyeballs are going to be on it. And a lot of people are already questioning, what they're doing with Bioware, and if they've kind of ruined Bioware, because, we know Bioware for making some of the best RPG games ever, and since EA is kind of taking control of them as the evil corporation and everything, the quality of their games has significantly dropped. So this needs to be good, to be honest with you, to erase all doubt, about Bioware as a studio. It has to be good. And I'm not so sure it's going to be, because reading this report, they're also talking about Dragon Age. And one of the features they're trying to implement in the next Dragon Age game is live elements, whatever that means. So I'm guessing it's going to have some kind of online portion that constantly changes or evolves, sort of like Destiny, I guess. So to what capacity that's going to be, I don't know, but I can say that a game like Dragon Age does not need any live elements or any online, because they tried online with Inquisition and it was trash. So they need to stay away from anything. The words live and online do not need to be associated with Dragon Age at all. Like, just give us a good story, a good game, and that's enough. But I just don't have any faith, because Andromeda was a mess. Inquisition was good, but it wasn't Dragon Age Origins, So yeah, Bioware are clearly not the same company they once was. And that's a lot of my concern here. So take all the time you need, delay the game if you have to. Just focus on making a good game that we actually want to play, because they haven't been doing that lately. So yeah.
Service-based games are the future. Yay.
Yeah, Sea of Thieves. That's going to be the 2018 Game of the Year, right? Yeah. All right, Dana, do you have any thoughts on this particular topic?
Yes, I do. I believe that, first of all, the original release date was completely unrealistic. And I also think that they're only making this statement now is because of the whole backlash, because of the whole Star Wars. So I think that if people never complained about Star Wars and gave EA such a bad name at that moment, that they would still continue with pretty much a crappy game, because they're saying that it's not done yet. So I'm happy that they're, delaying the release. I'm all for a delay. I'm the type of person who doesn't believe that a game that's announced should have an announced date. I don't believe that you should release when it's going to be ready unless it's actually physically ready. So I'm all for it.
Sounds
good.
And
they did do one thing. They did have no new details on the new Dragon Age. They didn't give any type of release date, and they didn't say any much of like an update. They just said that they're being worked upon. So I'm happy with that tactic. Don't say anything.
I just want to make a comment. I also am happy with that tactic, but I also expect that at that E3 EA show, we're going to see a concept. It's going to be another concept show where we'll see, okay, this is what we're thinking about doing for Dragon Age. There may not be nothing to show yet, but we already know how EA rolls with some of these reveals. So I do expect that to be the case at E3. We'll know about this game by E3. I think so, for sure. But we'll see. Mr. Lugo, do you have any thoughts on this particular topic?
I think a lot of what was said already is pretty thorough and pretty right on the nose. I do kind of agree with Dana a little bit because of a lot of the stuff that went down with Star Wars Battlefront 2. I don't think it was a direct correlation for what happened, but I think maybe kind of influenced some decisions over there. I just don't think that Anthem is really all too fleshed out. Now, granted, it looked beautiful at E3. We saw it a few times. We saw it at the EA press conference and we saw it at the Xbox conference. Okay, that's fine. A lot of people I don't even really think know exactly what Anthem is, or at least aren't as excited about it. I know there was an initial buzz at first, sometime like right after E3, but I haven't heard anybody up until now talk about Anthem, which I find strange because, granted, everybody's been talking about a lot of other games that have been coming out recently, but for a game, under my understanding, that was supposed to be like a really big showing for the Xbox One at one point, especially during E3. That's a little surprising for me, especially for something, you know, that's coming out or was potentially coming out this year. But give them the time. I mean, if they delay it and it's going to do more stuff, hopefully make it better, I think that's totally fine. I think it's cool. I think that a lot of the backlash from all the other games between Mass Effect and now also EA Star Wars Battlefront maybe kind of made them a little bit uneasy about it. Especially also, let's not forget some of the stuff that's been going on with loot boxes. Granted, Star Wars Battlefront 2 had the stuff with the progression system the way it was, which, by the way, they're kind of moonwalking back on, that they're going to be changing it up. I know I read a report that they're going to be really adjusting that at some point. So maybe Anthem had something that was kind of like implemented into it that maybe had some sort of system involving loot boxes or the progression system like that. Could be a possibility. Not confirmed, not fact. I'm just speculating at this point. But who knows? You know, let's see what happens this year at E3 if we get to see something more. We get even more details about what Anthem is.
Very, very good points. I did have one quick question I wanted to ask you before we move on, unless anyone else has anything else that they wanted to say. I know that all the reports that I have seen is indication that they want Anthem to be similar to Destiny, or they want it to be their version of Destiny. So I know that you heard about some of the issues with Destiny 2 as of late. What do you think? Now, what do you think the EA can learn from all that's going on with Destiny 2 to make Anthem better?
As far as like the most recent stuff that's been going on, like the was it the Eververse stuff and the progression, you know, that everybody put Bungie underneath the fire for?
That and I think people have been complaining about they feel like it's not enough content, that the content's not coming as quick and that type of stuff. So I didn't know if you had any thoughts as to what they can improve.
I mean, doing the content stuff as the frequency of the content, there's very little that you can do unless you stretch out things very long, as far as like, you know, the amount of content you release. Because Battlefront 2, I feel like, you know, had a good idea of content that was fresh, especially around the time that Star Wars was coming out over time, you know, a very short period of time. But I don't know exactly what Anthem and EA can do specifically for that. Because again, we don't know exactly like what a lot of details are about Anthem, or at least what they can offer. And as far as it being like their version of Destiny 2, so I think like maybe adopting some of the elements as far as like the gameplay elements, you know, that might work. That sounds cool, but I don't know. I don't know if how do you do that without being like the next Destiny 2 wannabe or the next Destiny wannabe like that? How do you do that if you're not going to fall into the same traps of what you did with Star Wars Battlefront 2, or be looked at again as a copycat, kind of like with PUBG and Fortnite? Like, there's a lot of different things that I'm pretty sure that they all got to figure out over there. But again, come E3 this year, we'll know exactly what's up, or at least we'll have a better idea of what's up.
I agree. And Max, you said you wanted to say something about this.
Yeah, just to add on to what JJ said, I think a lot of the issue also people have with Destiny 2 is the fact that there was a first game and a lot of the things they liked in the first game were changed in the second one, and Bungie was not clear on that. A lot of the issues that have been going on lately with Destiny 2 have been things that players have found out just by like playing with the game and like kind of just like looking into it and doing the math for like certain stats and stuff like that, and just being like, yo, Bungie, why did you change this and why didn't you tell us? This is like not fair to us. Or like even the fact that it wasn't until a little bit after Destiny 2 came out that they were like, oh yeah, this is a collection game. We don't really want the grind like the first game anymore. Like, that was kind of BS that they didn't say that stuff coming out. So Anthem has an advantage here because it's not a sequel. Like, it's not trying to live up to people's like hopes from the previous game. It can really do good by trying to be its own thing. Like JJ was saying, they have to figure out what will make it kind of not a Destiny clone, but they have an advantage here. As long as they're clear with the players on like what is going on in this game, which I have to hope they will be, then I think they have a strong advantage here, and they even have the opportunity to be seen as like the good service game, you know, because honestly, service games aren't really seen in the greatest light. So Anthem could be the one to change that. I don't expect it to be, but it really has the chance to. And, you know, they just need a really good story. They need to just throw in a lot of lore in there. Like, another issue with Destiny isn't necessarily that there isn't lore, it's that it isn't in the game, or it's hard to come across and hard to come by. Anthem needs to build like a well-established world, have a good story, obviously fun gameplay and everything else like that. It can look at Destiny and it can improve on all of these things that Destiny just blatantly lacks. And I think that it has a high chance of being successful if EA lets Bioware do those things.
Very, very good points all around. Yes. So, you know, yeah, we'll have to see whatever the plan is for Anthem. I do agree that it definitely wasn't going to hit that 2018 fall list. There's a couple games I don't think that are, you know, going to make it this year. But this one for sure, nah. So I'm glad they delayed it, but we'll see whatever this game turns out to be. Definitely going to learn more about it at E3 at the very least. So looking forward to that.